I'm Dr. Rob McKenna, and welcome to the WiLD Conversation, where we make the best thinking in psychology, leadership, and organizational science accessible to leaders who are willing to learn and edit for their sake and for the sake of others. Business results are powerful. When we have a plan, we execute on that plan, and we see the result, it's inspiring in all kinds of ways. Even making a plan can be a result. It's forward progress. Results answer at least they answer at least parts of our questions, and they give us belief that it might happen again. And think about the relationship between achieving a result and your belief in your ability to do it next time. Just think about that. And there's this connection, like business results, right? Getting things done as a business, like that has a relationship to trust. But think about the relationship between achieving a result and your belief you could do it next time. And then think about the relationship between those two things and trust. Your belief, the result, and trust. What is the relationship there? As I said earlier in this series, trust is the relational result of wholeness and intentionality. What do I mean by that? If we are not whole and instead are functioning from a place of brokenness, questioning ourselves and our abilities, have a tense relationship with our boss, or we're fragmented and feeling alone, our response to others will be as broken as we feel inside. And if that response is that broken, what does that have to do? How does that impact our trust? If we are whole, or more accurately, moving toward our aspiration for wholeness, and what I mean by that is knowing ourselves, understanding and seeing the whole thing and working towards something better, our response is not perfect, but will be timely, on point, and more complete. And that more whole self shows up in relationships very differently than a person who is blaming others, avoiding tough conversations, and ducking and weaving their way through work and life. And in the same way, intentionality is key. Doing things intentionally and getting things done and communicated in a timely manner that's sensitive to the needs of others has a huge impact on trust. And that's why trust begins at the individual level. It just does. Trust is the result of wholeness and intentionality, and a lack of trust is often the result of brokenness, compulsion, or simply being absent and not checking in for the game. So what do individual, team, and business level results have to do with trust? It begs us to ask a question. What is the relationship between trust and results? Or is it more about results and trust? Results impact things inside of us, the way we think and think about ourselves and others. There is a lot of psychological research that just confirms that for a long, long time. Results impact things inside of us, as well as things outside of us, the actual ability to achieve the results. At the individual level, seeing the result of an action increases our efficacy, our belief that we could do something. That's a key part of what wholeness is all about. And our efficacy, listen to this, increases our capacity to get the results we're seeking. As we believe in our abilities, we perform better. And as we perform better and get results, we believe more in our abilities. And this is where psychologists need to spend less time, and actually a lot of practitioners be more thoughtful about this. We need to spend less time arguing about whether the belief preceded our capacity to get it done, or getting done increased our belief that we could get it done. And just admit, this is the reality, that both are really important because we do not know fully the direction which predicts which. Results feed the beast of personal belief and self-concept, and belief that we can do it feeds the beast of our performance. Both are so important and so related. And a personal result, listen to this, a personal result is a business result. And I'll explain why. Achieving the business results we so deeply desire for increased margin, sales, quality, customer satisfaction, feeding those without food and providing clean water to those without water, for safety in our manufacturing process, you name it. The fundamental building block of business results is personal results, team results, group results, all leading to business results. All the way up and down the chain in our organization, getting results and seeing their impact increases trust. Why? Let me tell you a story about John. John worked for a company that hit the jackpot creating blank inside cards. They weren't birthday cards or Valentine's cards with beautiful poems about love and appreciation, or even the lesser thank you cards. They were blank inside cards. You know the section in the store. You've got birthday cards and get well soon cards, and then you have blank inside cards. You can choose a card with a note written from some overseas card company with something written straight to your wife, parent, or child that most of us will think when we open it, did you at least do the work to find a card that is close to what I might think you feel about me? Or you can pick the card that has a relevant but generic message on the front, and then inside, it's blank. It's blank inside. Anyway, back to John. So John was in charge of the quality control on the production line for the cards they produced that were primarily being sold in higher end grocery stores and bookstores, and even online. The cards were 25% above market prices, but they were beautifully done. People looking for cards were willing to pay more for these blank inside cards because the quality of the actual cards, the card stock used, the fonts, the graphics, and even the stamped paper looked really incredible. And one day, John was having a conversation with his manager, and John's manager, who was in charge of all production of the cards, had only been with the company for about 6 months and was brought in from the outside to 5x their revenue in the next year to increase the company's valuation toward a potential sale. And John had been really productive and given the business tremendous results, and had played a key role in the trust that their internal sales team had in the product as they spoke with buyers in high-end retailers across the country. And before John's manager joined the organization, the level of trust and communication between the leaders and the teams from production to quality to sales and to customers was off the charts. And for some reason, in this particular year, there was predicted to be an incredible run on blank inside cards on Valentine's Day. People would become weary of cards with messages written by someone else, and there was predicted to be a massive rising up of the high-end blank inside market. And due to this 5x goal that John's manager put pressure on, John felt really shaky for the first time in years. John had been really successful in the past at increasing the scale of their production multiple times over the last 5 years because he had been able to deliver on a very clear production goal, on very clear production goals at scale, even for their high-end market. He felt really confident in his ability to 3x the card production at their current quality levels, which is amazing he even knew that, but 5x seemed way out of bounds. And on top of that, John's new manager was inaccessible and wasn't really interested in talking with John about the goal. Get it done, John. That's all he heard in the conversation. He also said, John, I heard that you're more of a relational leader, but relationships won't grow this company. Production will grow this company. It's not about trust. It's about tenacity. Let's get this done, and your people will thank us. And on top of that, as a side note, John was struggling with an illness that John's wife, was struggling with an illness that doctors had still not been able to accurately identify. And her sickness was taking its toll on John as well. But his manager had little interest in that conversation, as get it done, John, was all he heard. What was happening outside his role in the business didn't appear to be relevant to his new growth goal. And I want you to fast forward 6 months to 3 weeks before that Valentine's Day. On a loading dock for one of the biggest retailers in the card industry, the first box of 1 million cards was opened by the buyer from that retailer. 1 million cards, each with these words printed on the inside of the card. Blank inside. The buyer closed the box, ran one strip of packing tape across the top and said, take them back where they came from. How can this be? 6 months before that moment, John had a conversation with his new manager who said, get it done, John. In that moment, a confidence that John had always felt in his ability to produce at the next level was immediately disintegrated. He knew what he could do, he knew his people, and he knew the timeline in which he could do it. The pressure, and that pressure then changed the way John spoke to his own team. And somehow in the mix, the label for this category of cards was imprinted as the actual message inside. And John, who had always trusted his team, approved the delivery of those cards with one fatal flaw. They weren't cards that were blank inside. They were literally blank inside cards. Is this John's problem? Is it his manager's problem? What do business results have to do with trust? According to Webster's dictionary, a result proceeds or arises as a consequence, effect, or conclusion. It is something that comes about because of something else happening. The targeted result in this case was for 1 million cards to be delivered to the retailer that were those high-end cards that were blank inside. The actual result was different. And for John, the results he had achieved in the past over and over again as the company grew were formative in building his confidence as a person and leader to achieve the result. He was used to a manager who understood the importance of effective communication. He believed in his abilities because he had seen results, and his results had been impacted by his belief in himself and his team. And trust across the organization ran high. That one fatal moment was not just about a printing error, but about the intimate connection between results, confidence, communication, development, and the trust that is necessary between all of us trying to get the results. What is the moral of this story? There's a few of them I want to point out. Number one, performance at getting our targeted results increases belief that we can get it done. And our belief that we can get it done impacts our ability to get it done well. It goes both ways. Another moral, business results start with the results of every individual team member throughout our organization. That's a big one. It begins with every individual team member with their results. Another moral, a business result impacts trust because as we deliver on what we promise, people will trust us. Conscientiousness and clear delivery increase trust and lubricate the entire organizational system. Number four, trust is deeply impacted by every moment where the results are clear, people have autonomy and say in how things are done, and even what is possible. Number five, trust does not start with business results, but is deeply impacted by them. Trust begins with an investment in whole person and whole team performance and development. One person and one team at a time. Those business results connect all the way back to every individual person, the conversations they're having, the competence in them that they are becoming aware of and growing, the level of support that they feel, the extent to which they connect their purpose to why they do the work, all of those things. So with the moral, those 5 things out there, I want to ask you 4 simple questions. These questions are for you personally and questions that I hope you will take back to your own teams and the leaders that you work with. The first question is this: are you and your team members aware of the results that you and they are responsible for on a daily basis in your organization? Are you aware of the results that you and they are responsible for on a daily basis in your organization? The second question is this: are those results and everything it will take to get them clearly aligned to the systems and processes that create them? Is there alignment between those results and the systems and processes that create them? I got to tell you all, as I read through these questions, I am convicted myself. These are such important questions. The third question is this: are you having regular whole person and whole team conversations regarding performance and development with your team members? Do you have a system in place for this? I had an organization we were working with. I had a chance to speak to their leaders. They were not current clients of ours in terms of using our WiLD Trust platform. And they asked me at the end, they said, so what would you say? How can we take this back to the job? And I had no other answer but to say, that's what I spent my entire career building. A regular cadence of whole person and whole team conversations regarding performance and development with your team members. We cannot function well and build trust unless we are having those conversations, and it is part of our business model. And finally, the last question. Are you having the necessary, honest, and open conversations with others in your business that will ensure that we don't just produce results, but we produce the targeted results? That we actually are producing the things that we're hoping to produce, not cards that say blank inside when you open them up. So are we having the honest and open conversations that will ensure that those things will happen? I say this, if you are answering, I'm doing all those things, I say bravo. I don't know if I've ever said bravo in the WiLD conversation, but good on you. It's amazing. That's amazing. And I want that season for all of us. If you aren't, let's go whole and intentional regarding performance and development. And let's get the results that will build trust at an entirely different level. And as always, let's keep the conversation going.